No fancy editing, just straight value. And today we're going to talk about the abandoned cart flow. And this is one of the most important flows for your brand. Now, you probably have this on Klaviyo, but it's most likely attached to checkout started. And this is a completely different thing. So you should have a flow for the abandoned cart flow added to cart and checkout or abandoned checkout flow. Checkout started. Very important. And realistically speaking, when it comes to copy, you can have exactly the same copy on both. Just change cart and checkout. Trust me, this works. I know this sounds lame, but obviously I suggest you to change the design for both because just to really, it feels different, okay? So that it's not exactly the same. All right. But when it comes to the purpose, which is objection handling, it's pretty much the same thing. So I'm going to give you this simple 3 email flow setup, which realistically speaking, I'm not a big fan of giving out templates, but it's the shiny thing. It's what people are looking for. And I can't tell you that this will work, but there is a chance in your brand that there is a much better way of doing the abandoned cart flow. Okay, there is a higher chance. But if you use this specific template, it will still work, obviously, but not at its fullest potential. All right, little disclaimer, I have to be honest. All right, so let's begin with the very first email, and this is honestly the simplest of the three. It's just a simple reminder, and we also should be using dynamic content here. We talk a little bit about the product, and we just remind people of the product. A good example of this is Dr. Squatch. So, by the way, this right here is the dynamic content. This is basically going to show the reader the thing that they actually added to cart, so it feels like the email is specifically made for them. And this is very, very powerful. Like I highly suggest you to use this. For some of my brands, we only sell one product, so I don't have to use this thing because it looks a little bit ugly on the email, but it's very, very powerful. Okay, so we start with a little, in this case, sneaking a peek. Hey, Dr. Squatch has a very playful way of communicating, which I like. I think this is how everyone should do. Not exactly like them, but more human to the human side. And the only thing I would change here is instead of saying shop now, is back to cart. And on the checkout started, finish order. Okay, very simple. Here we show them what they added to cart, back to cart, and here we talk a little bit about the product. Very light. Okay, you can't even go lighter than this if that makes sense. And back to cart again. Very simple. And realistically speaking, the people that are actually interested and they just forget about your product, they're going to purchase with this first email because the email just reminds them, you left this in your cart. Are you ready? And they buy. Pretty simple. Okay. Now here we wait one day. I don't suggest you to wait any more than 2 days. People forget things like real quickly, and usually what I do is every time someone is in a flow, I do not send them campaigns. Okay, this is something extremely important. We do not want to confuse our customers. Okay, so yeah, always keep for every flow. Honestly, like 1 day always. It's what works. Okay, 1 day. Second email. This is a text-based email, a personal reminder. And we talk a little bit about the brand values, a little bit about the general brand values, not related to the product that you're selling specifically, the product they want to buy, but just, talk a little bit about the brand. And this is a good example. I suggest you to keep your emails short. Text-based should always try to be as short as possible. You can have the exception here and there where you put a little bit more, but like people don't like reading nowadays, sadly. I do like reading, but most people, especially when they're opening marketing campaigns, they don't want to read stuff. Okay, so we need to make it as concise and direct and fun and persuasive as possible. Okay, very, very important. Here's an example here. You can see here, return to cart. Very simple. Now, 1 day later, last email. I know this sounds weird because you probably have heard people saying, "Oh, you should have like, I'm going to create this flow with 7 emails, this one with 8 emails." Like, you need to understand that there's one thing called deliverability and another thing called how am I gonna say this? How things actually work. Let's put it that way. Because realistically speaking, most of your revenue it's going to be on the first and on the second email. Anything past the second email, it's like it's the rest 1%. Let's put it that way. So I'm assuming you are, not a huge brand, and deliverability is extremely important. And 3 emails for really most of the flows, with the exception of the post-purchase flow and welcome flow. Uh, Obviously, like you need to put more emails on those. But anything else, it just should be a max 4 emails in a flow. Okay, very very important. I know this kind of sounds counterintuitive because you hear people saying, "Oh, just send more emails." No, you don't have to send more emails. You just need to send the right emails at the right time and emails that are actually good. Okay, and you also need to understand that with this, you should not send emails to people that are inside the flow. Okay, very important. Like email marketing, like it's a lot more complex than people think it is, or that people see it as. I think you get what I mean, right? Like there's a lot of variables in play, and people just tell you to send more emails and have more emails on the flows. That's not how it works. Okay, very important. All right, email 3. Last reminder: social proof, very important, and FAQs. Here we are going to target. What you need to do here is answer some of the most frequently asked questions. This can be general or related to a certain product. I suggest to be general. You can talk about shipping, you can talk about your subscription, anything related to your brand in a general way, okay? And then social proof reviews are very powerful. I mean, I don't think like these will ever die. I mean, this is one of the best ways of doing marketing. And last reminder, when I say last reminder, I don't recommend you to say, "Oh, your card is expiring tomorrow." Don't do that because that's a very old trick. People know it's bullshit and it backfires. They say, "Oh, this is marketing, right? Trying to sell me." I know most of the times people know they're trying to sell, but this is just a way of like people see that it's that obvious, okay? So just say last reminder. Oh, this is the last time we're going to remind you about the car. Blah blah blah. You have this, whatever. And here's a really good example from Brass. This is actually I don't think this is a cart abandon flow or email of the abandon flow, cart abandon flow, but this is honestly the perfect example of how you should do it. Here you would have the copy related to the abandon flow. You talk a little bit about, hey, this is our last reminder. Go back to cart, and then you got review. You talk a little bit about this specific. In this case, it's this specific drink, but you can talk a little bit about your brand, some FAQs. You can talk a little bit about your product as well, more reviews, and you can have some copy related to the flow as well. This is a perfect email. I also like if you have an offer like this, which I have a client with us, something similar to this. Go ahead, like just put it there. Or when you do a subscription, which I have many clients with that, like just tell them, yo, if you want to subscribe, you can also do that on the card flow. Like go, feel free. Like people they see the 15% off, and they just click on the email. You know what I mean? So yeah, it's very very powerful, and this is just basically a way of using that little trick. All right, so that's it for the abandoned cart flow. You can do the exact same thing for the checkout started or abandoned checkout flow. You just need to change the CTA to, instead of return to cart, finish order or back to checkout. So yeah, that's it for this video. Thank you very much for watching this entire thing. I appreciate it. I know like this isn't generally what you see out there. People just tell you to, oh, just yeah, we're going to make you an 8 email flow. Every flow is gonna have 8 emails. Most of the time, they do that so that they can charge more, and it does nothing. It just arms your deliverability, and it doesn't give you any extra revenue. So yeah, be conscious of that. Okay, like realistically speaking, 3-4 emails. I'm not talking about the welcome and the post-purchase flows. Like those are the actual most important flows. Just to let you know that those need to be like locked in. Let's put it that way. Okay. But anything else besides those two, you should have 3 emails, 4 max, okay? More than that, it's a mistake, in my opinion, for most brands. So, yeah, thank you for watching. Appreciate it, and I wish you an amazing rest of the day.